Dear Sambistas from all over the world, I am Felipe, o Gato de Salto, and as many of you probably know, I have been teaching Samba in different countries of the world for quite some time now. I am proud to call myself a representative of the Samba culture outside of Brazil, just like many other professionals. The first feathers I've ever bought were blue and white, the colors of the Samba School Baturim, located here in Vienna, Austria. I will never forget that. And today I come to you with a revelation that might shock some of you as much as it has shocked me. I was expelled from my Samba school, Baturim, here in Vienna. This video is not meant to be an attack on Baturim. I'm not asking you to go unfollow them on social media or leave mean comments or stop cooperating with them. That's not what I want. All I want to achieve is to raise your awareness. I think especially now, in the troubled political times that we are living, it is very important to speak up against racism, homophobia, sexism, and unfairness in general. Some of these types of harassment I've actually experienced within the Baturim Samba School. And today I'm here to share a few experiences with you that might make you aware that in case you realize these patterns within your Samba school or your dance group, you can speak up and handle these fairly. I did consider for a very long time whether or not I should come public with this video, because I know that the people that I'll name in this video, they will definitely talk about it and try to defame me and try to, damage my reputation. On the other hand, I am confident that the right thing to do is to speak up, and I am not going to be bullied into silence. As representatives of Samba outside of Brazil, be you Brazilian or of any other nationality, we have the responsibility to spread the culture of Samba. And this brings me to the first point why I think that Baturim fails as a Samba school. Baturim is a cultural association on paper, but many members of the Samba school are not really aware of the meaning of Samba. Let's take the treasurer of the school, for example, Michael Holzbauer. Michael very often neglected people from the school who needed a voice. He would avoid conflict that would ensure fair treatment within the school on grounds of it being too time-consuming or too demanding or simply not fun. Such a behavior from a member of the board of the school is simply unacceptable. Michael, like other members of the school, often put leisure and hobbies before values such as respect and fairness towards the Samba culture. Of course, I am well aware that Samba is often associated with fun and laughs and having a beer together and playing, but we should not forget that the history of Samba has a darker past. We should not forget the numerous people who have been incarcerated, have their instruments confiscated by the police, or even killed in order for you, for me, for us to be enjoying the Samba culture the way we do. Samba is still marginalized in Brazil today because many people don't see it as an art form, don't treat it as an art form, and don't treat it fairly. It is time to change our perspective and be aware of the influence of our behaviors and actions onto others. We can only expect Samba to be respected if we respect it. Anyone with an inspirational position or leadership position within the Samba community has the duty and the responsibility to spread culture and correctness, because we know the past of Samba has been unfair enough. In Baturim's case, the president of the school, Clarissa Altman, continuously neglects this responsibility. She rather focuses on the end product, which is really having people learning how to play an instrument, but neglects spreading the knowledge and the growth of her own Samba school. Members of Baturim, for example, are not encouraged to fly to Rio to have some more intensive learning, and they hardly get any cultural input. Clarissa also has a very peculiar way of expecting excellence from musicians, and she would also refuse beginner level dancers on grounds of them not having the level. Expect excellence is generally a good thing, but not if beginner level musicians and dancers don't even get the chance to excel. Only very advanced guests are celebrated, or those with personal friendship ties to the president of the school. And if you are a beginner or an intermediate level musician and you've attended one of the Baturim weekends, you probably know what I'm talking about. Again, as representatives of Brazilian culture outside of Brazil, and as people who are in leadership positions or inspirational positions, we must encourage all members to participate. So if you're experiencing this within your Samba school or your dance group, you must work on an inclusive program. You must make all adaptations necessary to make sure that all members and everyone is welcome. So if you have beginners in your group who feel that they are ready to perform, you must come up with a program or with part of a program that they are able to do and to perform in order to keep them motivated and encouraged. Please, please, please be encouraging in your group. Open up and welcome everyone. We sort of have the duty to get more people into the Samba culture. Only then, people are going to start noticing the Samba as an art form and will start respecting it as it should be respected. We shouldn't abuse Samba just to inflate our own ego. This actually brings me to my next point. The records of the Samba School Baturim actually shows that more than 80 people have passed through the school but didn't stay. And Baturim is actually proud of having the policy of, if you don't like how things are done here, you know where the exit door is. People, as Samba ambassadors, we must encourage other people to join us and to actually stay. And you know what I don't understand? Clarissa is yearly in Rio, and she sees the struggles that Rio Sambistas go through. Like, she sees how people are encouraged to participate and motivated to stay and be part of the Samba School. She sees the personal sacrifices they have to do in order to comply to the school's demands. She sees the struggles of passistas, sometimes not having the money to pay for a transportation ticket to go to a rehearsal. It is inconceivable to me why someone so involved in the Samba culture would actually exclude her highly qualified passistas from a show of her own school for external, less committed friends to perform at unpaid gigs. Yes. So if you do have a Samba school or a dance group, yes, please people, respect, cooperate, honor, and welcome external guests. Do this, but never, ever exclude members from your own group. This will definitely backfire on you. Let's go back to the argument that Clarissa expects high ability from musicians and dancers. I must say it's tempting to understand it as reasonable. However, many of these external dancers that replace the school's passistas have very little awareness of the Samba culture, and sometimes they are as beginner leveled as the passistas Clarissa excludes for being beginner leveled. Does that make sense? To me, it is very clear that Baturim makes decisions based on personal friendships. In addition, Clarissa also refuses to delegate the coordination of dancers to someone else, even though coordinating them herself is quite difficult. Because if she only accepts high quality dancers, she can't really put dancers in who are oblivious to the Samba culture and rather money oriented. And she would also need to make decisions to ensure that everyone cooperates, that everyone knows their place, that includes everyone. So if she doesn't feel like coordinating the dancers, she should definitely delegate that to someone more qualified. So if you do have a Samba school or a dance group, remember that having a democratic conduct is actually a way of giving a very little tiny bit back to the Samba culture itself, which has been so unfairly treated throughout the years. Be fair and embrace your responsibility to spread the Samba culture and passion to everyone, not only your personal friends. And don't be afraid of delegating. Another very delicate topic and experience that I would like to share with you is the fact that I have also suffered homophobia within the Samba school. In the beginning of my career, as I was still in search of my personal image and my personal me, I heard two comments that I will never forget. The first one was, you know, Felipe, when you dance in high heels, you look like a clown and you're making a circus out of the Brazilian culture. And the second one was right after I got asked in a very disgusted tone, like, you're not gonna wear a miniskirt to this gig, are you? The first comment was made by a Brazilian dancer who is also part of the school, Luciana. And she claims she's not homophobic, and I understand, we've got common gay friends. However, her words really cut through my heart at the time and left a scar, of which I'm very proud today. Yeah, I'm proud that it didn't hold me back. The second comment came, to my own surprise, also from a Brazilian girl who plays chocalho and who is also homosexual herself. And I would like to point out that had I given to these comments then, on my very first gig, there would be no gato de salto today. I wouldn't be here talking to you. And that's why it's so important to speak up. Luciana's comments were very homophobic, but they do reflect part of the reality. Men don't usually dance in high heels. You have to understand that I'm very proud of being a pioneer in this matter. I am also very much in favor of the protection of tradition, but I think, especially within an art form, we have to allow this art form to evolve. And actually, if you look back in history, in the 30s, there was a very, very famous malandro who was also a sambista, called Madame Satã, and who used to dance samba in high heels. So know your facts. I have made the school aware of the happening at the time, but to no result. And since then, I have continuously offered to work with Luciana, but she has categorically refused. If you experience something similar within your Samba school or dance group, or even if you witness someone being a victim of homophobia or any type of harassment of the kind, I really hope that you will feel safe to speak up. It is important to encourage individuality and not to shut it down. And again, I'm just me today because I didn't listen to those comments. The final occasion that I would like to mention to you today is related to the preparations of the show Baturim wanted to present at the International Samba Festival in Coburg this year. This International Samba Festival is a very important festival in Europe for every sambista, including me. Baturim decided to cooperate with an external artist who actually demanded me to be excluded completely from the show. Coincidentally, this external artist is also the husband of Luciana, the girl who made the homophobic comments about me. I understand the wish of Baturim to work with an external artist and as a Samba school, and I also understand how difficult it must be, to having to exclude me as a member. But Baturim chose to accept his demands and went ahead with planning the show. They also held different meetings to talk about the show, and once when I actually asked to be able to join the meeting, I was denied entry, and the board didn't even care to explain me why I am not accepted in that meeting, since everyone else from the school was kindly invited. There are many different unfair aspects to this example, but basically, if this happens within your Samba school or your dance group, I think the right thing to do is to find a compromise between both parties. Ideally, for example, the show could be divided into two. One part with external artists and one part where all guests and members would be welcome to join. This is a much fairer way of solving conflict instead of choosing to exclude a member completely from a gig. There are many more traumatizing occasions that I have experienced in Baturim, but basically all of them have the same origin: unfairness. By now, after listening to all of this, you're probably wondering, Felipe, what have you done to be treated like this? Why were you expelled? And basically, what Baturim stated is in accordance to paragraph number 4 of their own statute. I was expelled due to dishonorable behavior. No further explanation has been provided to describe exactly that dishonorable behavior, but I personally believe that is due to the fact that I don't mind speaking up and questioning the way that some situations are handled unfairly. So to finish this video, if we take into consideration all of the experiences that I shared with you, key values such as equality, fairness, democracy, and respect are not found within the Samba School Baturim. These values, however, are values strived for by most schools, be them educational institutions or not, in most countries of the world. These values go hand in hand with the word school. Baturim does not show any interest in pursuing and trying to achieve these values. So, in my opinion, Baturim has no right to call themselves a Samba school. A more appropriate name would be, perhaps, Bloco Baturim. Thank you very much for taking your time to listen to me. I hope I could inspire you to strive for a fair approach of conflict resolution.